Hi, I hope you're well, and just a warning, this is going to be a little bit of a different video just because I want to challenge my editing abilities, but with any luck, it should still be pretty entertaining to watch, so we'll just dive right in. Thanks. Have you noticed there tends to be sort of a running theme with the premises of a lot of modern horror movies? Not all of them fit into neat boxes, of course, but especially more mainstream horror films kind of do. You have the slashers, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers types, Friday the 13th, Scream. You have ghost and possession movies, think The Conjuring, Poltergeist, and The Sixth Sense. And if you haven't seen The Sixth Sense, by the way, you should. It's a classic to me. Midsommar and Hereditary, too, as unique as they are, would even fall into a category like this for me, the occult. And with more and more horror movies budgeting their time into better cinematography and leaning on jump scares to separate it from a drama with morbid themes, the underlying plots of the films themselves are kind of left to follow in the footsteps of every horror movie before them. For these movies, the fear here is kind of existential. Most of what drives these characters and these plots is the active fear of their lives, after all, and that's what the existential is about. It's about our existence, but today, in this video, I want to take it a step further. It's not every day a film even tries to tackle this subject, but this is about fear that extends beyond human comprehension. This is about when horror becomes larger than life itself, larger than humanity. This is about cosmic horror. And just a fair warning, there will be spoilers ahead, specifically for the films Interstellar and Annihilation. If you've been meaning to watch either of these, now's the time before you continue the video. I'm not barring any parts of the plot because they're pretty important for the conversation, so you've been warned. Speaking of Interstellar, let's start with that. If you're like most people, you probably wouldn't consider it to be a horror movie, but I do, and here's why. Just a little about the movie first, though. Interstellar takes place in a future where the world is plagued by an infection that kills crops and creates vicious dust storms on the surface of the planet. Joseph Cooper, the main character, knows that humanity on Earth is headed towards extinction, and his kids may very likely never get the chance to live a full life because of this. When he volunteers to pilot the ship Endurance to explore a wormhole near Saturn, it's with the hope that they might find a new, more hospitable planet for them to move to. His motivations are entirely to combat this existential threat. That, to me, it's pretty terrifying, but it's only just breached the existential level of horror. The cosmic horror of this movie is yet to come, when, towards the end of this journey, Joseph Cooper sacrifices himself to save his crewmate Amelia, and he falls into a black hole. Here, he stumbles upon something he hardly knows how to make sense of. Reality kind of warps around him, and suddenly it's like he's in this new level of existence that he can't even comprehend. Space and time work differently here, and he discovers that he can manipulate them both. He uses this to write a code with the falling dust in his former home that gives the coordinates to the secret space station that had once started this journey to his younger daughter and his younger self. He also manages to transmit certain information about the black hole he entered, which later gives his now grown-up daughter Murphy the data she needs to solve their impending extinction and even build new colonies for humanity out in space. When Joseph Cooper manages to leave this black hole, he's rescued by members of this colony. Due to time dilation, everyone but him has aged dramatically, including his daughter Murphy, who is now on her deathbed. Now, it's never quite set in stone what exactly happened when Joseph Cooper entered this black hole, but the layout of the scene in the movie, when he's in it, mimics that of a tesseract. That being a four-dimensional cube, a theoretical construct of an object us 3D beings can't truly comprehend. What he did in this plane goes beyond comprehensible human capability, and the film tries to capture that, even though it truly can't. But because of this, Joseph Cooper becomes acutely aware of the idea that something put this plane here for him. Someone or something far more advanced than he, some kind of entity beyond the humanity he's familiar with. They'd planned for him to come here. They'd put this plane here so that he could stumble upon it and so that he could save humanity. This ticks that cosmic horror box for me, but there's still more horror to be found in this film, specifically in the usage of time dilation, and by extension, being able to see your own children grow old and have children of their own, even surpass you in age and pass away. That's terrifying. That's something no mortal person should have to endure in my mind. And when I think of someone who's gone through that, I think of things like vampires and other supernatural, fictitious beings. Time dilation is a real thing, and while it's kind of dramatized in this movie, it still makes for both a profound and horrifying plot device. Also, while we're here, I want to touch on the fourth dimension, another concept in this movie that really ticks the cosmic horror box for me too. This tesseract-like plane that Joseph Cooper found himself in, while not exactly real, it is based on a very real hypothetical construct. It is also very fascinating to me because of how complex the theory is, how it challenges your very perception of reality. There's a video I've seen that kind of puts this in a way that makes sense to me. To illustrate the fourth dimension in the eyes of a three-dimensional being, this user named MashPo coded a Minecraft-like game that kind of seeks to mimic this. How it works is much like how a two-dimensional being would view a three-dimensional world, that being in these kind of easily digestible slices. Specifically in this game, the player can operate a dial that will show him different slices of the four-dimensional world. Something especially interesting to me is when he demonstrates building a simple house here. When he's finished, it looks good enough, solid walls, no holes, but when he uses this dial that allows him to view different slices of the fourth dimensional world, it reveals that there was actually quite a few holes in the building, which allowed for fourth dimensional beings to easily get in. This in particular is something I would love to see in the context of a horror movie, perhaps even in the cosmic horror genre. These hypothesized fourth dimensional beings playing the part of some kind of supernatural entity would be perfect for putting a certain level of science into the genre, almost believability, and that would make it scarier to me. But in the context of Interstellar specifically, this fourth dimension is what makes the film not an existential horror piece, but a cosmic one. While Joseph Cooper theorizes that this fourth dimensional plane was put here for him by an advanced humanity set farther in the future than he could ever hope to live to see, he actually has no way to know this for certain. It is ultimately and utterly beyond his comprehension. His experience with it questions not only his relationship to humanity, every member of which has now grown and lived rich lives without him, but this relationship to reality, space, and time itself. That, to me, is textbook definition of cosmic horror. However, I would be remiss not to mention who many consider to be the father of cosmic horror. In fact, the genre does have another name based on him. Lovecraftian horror, even eldritch horror if you're feeling fancy. The genre was hugely popularized by Howard Phillips Lovecraft. Many of his works, the Cthulhu mythos specifically, they delve into cosmic aspects like regarding humanity and how little of reality we can actually comprehend, learning certain knowledge not meant to be learned by humans, and that leading to insanity. It's another popular theme of his, and even more relevant to this video at least I would say, is this: humanity being influenced by something non-human. Annihilation is a film about a group of scientists set on a near-suicidal mission. A meteor that landed on Earth has spread into a viral, heavily mutative, anomalous zone known as the Shimmer, and they need to venture to its heart to stop it before it swallows the surface of the Earth. The only caveat to this is that the Shimmer creates a deadly ecosystem for humans, and its heavily mutative nature also extends to the people who venture into it. Throughout the film, these scientists discover a number of mutated creatures, an albino crocodile with the tooth patterns of a shark, and a bear that goes on to basically absorb two of the scientists. It is here we can also see just the personal level to which the Shimmer can mutate people. One former soldier's DNA mutates, causing him to change into a growth of lichen only in the shape of a human. We see also the Shimmer can take on the likeness of humans itself, like doppelgangers. In the end, Lena is the only scientist who completes the journey and is able to eventually leave the Shimmer, but it does not reverse the mutations to her DNA that she has endured. The Shimmer acts as an unstoppable force in this movie, with none or at least incomprehensible motivations, and it creates an existential dilemma when it comes to the self and the ego. Not only that, but it breaches a cosmic level in what it would have meant for this planet if it had been overtaken by the Shimmer. If it had been left unchecked, the planet would have succumbed to it without a question. Humanity, having been subjected to the Shimmer, wouldn't have been humanity anymore. It wouldn't have been a matter of extinction, but a matter of such violent and rapid change that it would render our species unrecognizable. It would be a matter of the integrity of human identity in the face of being tampered with by an alien species. Now, back to Interstellar. When I first watched this movie, I didn't understand the ending. I thought it was weird and out there. And admittedly, this movie came out about 10 years ago, so I was pretty young when I first watched it. But I've rewatched it many times now. It's one of my favorite movies. In fact, Christopher Nolan is also one of my favorite directors. And the fact that it does dip into this cosmic, existential, hardly fathomable horror is what I love most about it now. I understand it in the way that I know I will never truly understand it, if that makes sense. I fathom that the concept in this film is unfathomable. It's both terrifying and profound to me for this in a way that I don't quite know how to put into words, but I can try. Fearing for your life, or for the lives of those around you, or even the lives of your species as a whole, it still pales in comparison to the more abstract concepts that cosmic horror has to offer. They play on a fear hardwired into humanity, a fear of the unknown. The incomprehensibility of it all levies a horror of its own. It bends and breaks reality as we know it, puts into question what we previously thought to be fundamental, reliable truths about life. For Joseph Cooper, he lost touch with his family, with time, even humanity. Feeling the presence of whatever entity that allowed him to communicate with his young daughter has to stick with you for a long while, if not forever. It has to make you wonder what you really know about everything that you used to know was real. For Lena, losing touch with humanity too would have been a heavy weight to bear, knowing you've been changed irrevocably and fundamentally, knowing you might not even be a human anymore, and that it may only be a matter of time before the thing that changed you changes your former species too. It drives a wedge between you and everything you've ever known. It's so hopelessly, unchangeably, unfathomably different. You are hopelessly, unchangeably, unfathomably different. And much like how we're all just specks living on a slightly larger speck in a universe full of stars and planets just like our own, in such a vast number that there's no chance we'll ever get to explore them all, it still pales in comparison to the grandness of the cosmos. But therein lies the upside. As cosmically horrifying as this all may be, the indifference of the universe gives us the space to do and care about virtually whatever we want. If nothing matters, then anything can matter. And to even be capable of being aware of such bigger than us, difficult to grasp concepts is just a testament to how advanced humanity's level of operation and overall consciousness is. To even be able to fathom things happening in the universe beyond you and your species is a tremendous privilege just as much as it is a curse. And this level of operation, this is what gives us the ability to make art, to create philosophy, to think up ways to improve our lives and learn more about the universe around us. In my opinion, this is what makes humanity different. This is what separates us from animals. And this is what has enabled us to make such leaps and bounds in technology in the relatively small amount of time we've been on this planet. Because of this, we've gone farther than the people before us could have ever fathomed, and the people who will come after us will undoubtedly go farther than we could have ever fathomed was possible. We may never truly grasp the unfathomable, but it's our desire to try that keeps us pushing boundaries and going further. The indomitable human spirit is an ever-burning flame, and it's inside all of us. Hey, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and since I've been making YouTube videos for a little while now, I'm now inclined to say, if you did enjoy, feel free to subscribe or something. Who knows? Anyways, regularly scheduled content, new video next week, and we'll see you then. I hope you have a good day or something until then. Alright, see ya.